everyone, welcome to an analysis of dance, where we discuss the movements and debuts of the Billboard Hot Dance charts in immaculate detail, with in-depth reviews of each debut each week. Okay, seriously, this is making me really worried now, because this is the third week in a row where the charts have just not been good in terms of debuts, or really in this case, any sort of actual momentum or anything interesting going on. I mean, seriously, we only had 3 debuts, all of which were from albums that I had precisely zero interest in listening to, and given that none of these are going to last, this week kind of feels pointless. And honestly, I'm not complaining because it's not a good week at all. I mean, thank God our number 1 is excellent with Strangers by Kenya Grace, which even if it is stalling out a little bit across the board and is worryingly close to being knocked down on the Hot 100, it still has decent radio momentum behind it as well as streaming. Let's hope it sticks around. But interestingly, this song could actually be at the end of its run at number 1, as there's a certain song that might actually debut next week, given that it hit the digital sales chart, and really that's a long conversation coming next week, but hey, it's at least a lot more exciting than what 2023 had to offer in terms of the top. And speaking of which, I'm Good Blue by David Guetta and BB Rexa is on its way out at number 2. Really, if it wasn't for radio, this would be gone, and given that it's likely to have a debut above it, I expect this to get knocked down, and I gotta hope it finally gets kicked off soon. It's really annoying me now. Hell, I also see that knocked down for Ecstasy by Suicidal Idol at number 3, although really it is only because of streaming that this is even up this high, and given that that's stalled out, this could be on its way out, and good riddance too. Hell, even if Baby Don't Hurt Me by David Guetta and Marie and Coi Leray is up to number 4, again, it's only here because it has some form of radio, and given that it's collapsing everywhere else and that's starting to rotate out, this could be gone too. Let's hope this one gets kicked out. It's the worst of the 2 David Guetta songs here. But what surprised me were our 2 big debuts this week, both coming off of Jung Kook's album Golden, and were able to debut off of huge sales and streaming, and really I don't expect either of these to last. With Please Don't Change featuring DJ Snake at number 5, and Closer to You featuring Major Lazer getting back into the top 10 for the first time in years at number 6. Really, I expect these to both be gone next week, and honestly when you get to them later on, I'm kind of okay with that. But unfortunately what's looking set to overtake them next week is GMFU by AAoD and Barely Human at number 7, which has got its own streaming boost, as well as Lovely Bastards by Yatashi Gang and Zwayhander at number 8. And God, let's kick these off soon, please. They're not good. But it is not helped by Rush by Troye Sivan just utterly collapsing to number 9, and given that radio has not been on board with this at all, streaming is starting to rotate out in favor of One of Your Girls, this could be gone soon, and really, it had a really good run, but it deserved better. But then we actually have a new arrival to the top 10, and one that's long overdue for me, Prada by Casu, Ray and D-Block Europe at number 10. And look, it's mainly here thanks to its decent radio, some really solid streaming behind it, and really, given how long it's taken to hit the top 10, I don't expect it to have a ton of staying power, but hey, I'm not complaining. The song's really grown on me recently. It's actually one of the better hits on this chart right now, which is a little bit concerning, but still, you know what, I'll take it. It is really good. But speaking of overdue, our Falls and Fall Loss, where I'm actually pretty happy with what we got kicked off the charts this week. Yes, it does suck that Loses the Techno by Feed is finally gone after really underperforming. It's gonna miss both year and listen, that's a shame. But hey, it also took out Once Again PR Funk by S3BZS and Good Loyal Thoughts by AAoD, both of which again kicked into recurrency and not repeating for another year and list. Thank God, they're both terrible songs. And I can't really say I'm that upset about our Falls either, as really the only ones I like are Big FU by David Guetta, A Star and Lil Durk down hard to 45 of the debut, as well as Baby Hello by Raul Alejandro and Bizarrap Rap down to 35, likely on its final week on the charts after a much better run than I think anyone expected. But hey, I can't really complain about Got Me Started by Troye Sivan down to 20, or Sins Let Me In by Kanye off of its remix gains last week down to 23, and I absolutely cannot complain about The Living Tombstone getting kicked down with Five Nights at Freddy's down to 13, and really given that Halloween's long gone and the Five Nights at Freddy's movie has not really done all that well in terms of popularity, I expect this to be gone come next week, and thank God it's gonna miss the year-end list at this rate. It's not a good song at all. But then we get to our jumps and comebacks, where there are just as many comebacks as debuts this week. Yeah, this week was that dead. And yes, while I don't really like Freak 54 Freak Out by Pitbull and Nile Rodgers at 49, or even Tempo by Marshmello and Young Miko back at 41, these are both here thanks to pop airplay and the album respectively, really, I don't expect the ladder to really last, and honestly, when you get to the debut coming up, I'm not really complaining there. But hey, Only in My Mind by Kenya Grace came back at 48, and even if it did get snubbed pretty early of having an actual run, I'd like to see it get a second chance. It is a really damn good song here. Our jumps aren't really all that bad either, as although we did see the unfortunate gain for Vapor God's Diamonds and Roses up to 27 off the debut last week, the rest seem to be getting a decent amount of momentum on pop airplay and also considerable boosts this week, with On My Love by Zara Larsson and David Guetta up to 29 finally getting some momentum behind it, both by Tiesto, 21 Savage and Bia up to 18, which just actually debuted on that chart this week, and even If Only I by Loud Luxury, Two Friends and B-Rex are surging up to 28, and given that it's on its 20th week, it's either going to survive thanks to radio or recurrent rules coming into effect if it jumps into the top 25, or gets snubbed early, because let's face it, the radio charts here don't mean shit, and even if pop airplay's on board with it, I don't know how long it's going to last there. Still, I'd like to see it make a run, it's a good song. But onto a much less interesting list of debuts that won't last, starting off unfortunately with number 36, Alcohol by Marshmello and Anuel AA. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, these songs just inspired next to no reaction from me. It's not that they're even particularly bad in an interesting way, they're just bland and boring from artists that really don't deserve to have continued momentum on these charts, and what better case than Marshmello delivering the collab with Anuel AA as the only song to cross over from Sugar Puppy. And you know what, I'm gonna zoom through these quickly. This one has a nice Latin sound to it with some really nice synths against a beat that's pretty damn decent, but you unfortunately have to balance it out with Anuel AA, who sounds as flat and devoid of personality as ever, as the autotune tries to keep his voice in tune and just does not sound good at all, and with an undeveloped runtime that just really drags, and a song that just is not special at all, especially when the collaboration with Furuko is on the same damn album. Yeah, this is filler and utterly forgettable. Let's move on. Number 6, Closer to You by Jung Kook featuring Major Lazer. We're not meant to blend in, blended with your friends, push and pull to get closer. Major Lazer has just ruined all kinds of goodwill that I built up for them in 2015, and given songs like this, it should be apparent that they don't need to chart here anymore, because my god, this production is awful. And seriously, why are you resorting to working with Jung Kook? Are you that desperate, Diplo? Couldn't you have just moved on to your solo stuff? It's much better than this crap. The muffled tropical house beat has absolutely no atmosphere. The pianos sound really flat and chintzy and honestly sound MIDI programmed, which is the last thing you need for a song like this. Jung Kook sounds completely tuned out here and really does not elevate the song at all, and the verses and production are just some of the emptiest and blandest you'll ever hear. It's the sort of song where it baffles me why Major Lazer was behind this. This sounds completely devoid of any sort of personality or interesting ideas, and again, when you have someone like Jung Kook who's blowing up, the fact that this sounds as bad as it does, yeah, that's inexcusable. Fuck this is not good. Finally, number 5, Please Don't Change by Jung Kook featuring DJ Snake.
Please don't change, 'cause I love you, yeah, I love you, oh, I love you, love the way you are. Please don't change.
I mean, I'll give it credit, this one is at least a little bit better, mainly because DJ Snake actually knows how to produce and match the tropical house vibe that Jung Kook is going for across a lot of the songs on this album. But still, even if this song is really well produced with a really nice tropical house beat and some really nice synth integrations that play into a pretty damn catchy hook, there's no way around it. The lyrical content and writing of this song is just a total mess. I mean, I get the idea of wanting to love someone in spite of all the fame and eyes on you, but it gets particularly ridiculous when Jung Kook on the very first verse compares himself to a goddamn satellite. And look, I get the whole idea is that it's high up in the sky and people are keeping him on a high pedestal, but seriously, there's a difference between Jung Kook, who is a real life person who people can actually see, and a floating dish in the middle of space that people do not look up to at all. And really, the line is clunky and the rest of the song is so completely underdeveloped and devoid of any sort of lyrical content on the verses, where it just does not develop at all. And it's a shame too, because this production is really damn good. Shout out to DJ Snake for actually knowing the vibe quite well, but it's just a shame that everything else about this just isn't all that memorable. It's not bad, but not great either. But that's our week, and that's it. I mean, I have to give the best to Please Don't Change by Jung Kook featuring DJ Snake, even if DJ Snake is really the only reason that song is okay for me instead of outright bad. But the worst is also going to Jung Kook, We're Closer to You with Major Lazer. Dear God, I did not like that one at all, and it's proof that Major Lazer should really retire at this point. It's just getting ridiculous. Next week, dear God, I'm expecting at least a new #1 debut, but otherwise, can we have a good week? This has been 3 weeks in a row of pure mediocrity. This is not looking good. But yeah, that's all for this episode of an analysis of dance. See you next time.